role, and I'll be helping. I'll be teaching classes as well.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah. So
I'll look through some of my. I might have some of my interview questions, and I'll pass those over to you. I'll have to dig through my email because I sent myself a bunch of them before I left my previous position. But if I have those, I'll send them to you.
I'd appreciate it. That my next interview is the technical one, and then I'm meeting with the head of IT for the company after that.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's like a 3-step process.
Yeah, and this is you, buddy. This is you. Hey, you just got put in the game, buddy. How you gonna act? You just got put in the game. How are you gonna act? All right. Hey, study those labs, man. Go over those labs, look for some interview questions. Let me know when you're ready to do our part 2. We can set up some time to do our part 2 and knock that out the way.
Perfect.
OB, what it do, bro?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I'm trying to. We're on live, but for some reason I can't see the chat right now. It's gonna suck for people in live who have questions, but I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna try to fix it as we're moving. But what's up, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Cyber Thursday. We are gonna do things a bit differently this Thursday. All right, this week, what we are gonna get into, and I should probably share my screen, is a little bit of web exploitation. Right, I know some of you are familiar with TryHackMe. TryHackMe is a website that has a bunch of different labs, different machines that they intentionally make vulnerable for you to test out your skills from beginner all the way to expert. You can find labs to do SQL injection, cross-site scripting, privilege escalations, buffer overflows, Active Directory exploits. This is a great resource to use. All right, I myself, I try to use it as much as I can. Right, as much as I can. I challenge myself to use it before classes each day. Looks like the YouTube thing is working a little bit. What's up, YouTube? We're getting ready to get started, things kicked off over here. If you have any questions, bear with me. The chat is like delayed a bit. So I'm gonna try to answer your questions while we answer people's questions in the class. Hey, y'all, if you have questions when we're going through this, you already know the deal. Ask me the questions. I'm gonna try to make the video 30 minutes. If it goes over, it goes over. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Anybody got questions before we get started, class? Anything in class that you want to talk about before we get started? So we got some old faces in here. Got the old class in here, some new students in here. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay. So the web app we're going to be attacking today is called Steel Mountain. All right, TryHackMe, when you're going through their labs, they have like steps here for you to go through. Okay, in order to try to keep you on an organized path so you can learn what they're trying to teach. So we'll go through these. I'm not necessarily going to follow them all in order. My goal is to exploit the box, right? We'll find the answers as we go through them. I'll make notes of it, like what port the web server is running on and what the exploit number is, the user flag, the root flag. So we'll go through all these, right? It just won't be step by step. So let me start the machine while we're talking. Now, first thing I'm gonna do while this machine is starting up is go ahead and set up my VPN. So I'm going to actually pause the screen so I can connect in, make sure we're good over here. I want to make sure I can see our questions when you type them. All right, open VPN. So you able to see my screen now, we're back. All right, so I'm connected to my VPN. And we have our machine up. So this is the website right here. This is the web IP or the IP address for the web server we're going to exploit. One of the first things that I typically like to do, as you all know, or let me just ask well, let me not, because it could be 1,001 questions here for this. One of the first things I like to do is scan the box, right? See what ports are open. See what ports are open, see what services are running. Anybody have an idea of what tool we may use to scan this box?
Nmap.
That's that.
Nmap. All right, Colin, was that you who said Nmap?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, Nmap. Nmap is what we're going to use to scan this box. Nmap is a port scanner. And I think those are all the switches I'm going to use for this. All right, so Nmap is going to run. It's going to go ahead and do a port scan on that. While that's running, I would like to also do another scan called a directory scan. All right, so I want to scan this web server for other directories that may be publicly available, such as this /admin or this /admin or this /index.html. Some other directories that you're not gonna, that are publicly available that we could find with a tool called Dirbuster. And for Dirbuster, oh, my bad, y'all. Let me tell you what I did over here, first of all. So with this Nmap scan, right, I have the -pn switch. -pn is to not ping the host, right? I don't want it to alert the host. And I have this -sv, which is a version scan. I want you to scan the host, do port scans, but I want you to try to tell me what version the ports or the services are that are using those ports. And then this is going to run different Nmap scripts, such as vulnerability scripts, what it's vulnerable for. Then we have the aggressive scan, which is going to try to get as much information, including operating system details about this system. Okay. Now, let me make sure we can even ping the box. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to run Gobuster, right? And Gobuster is going to scan the directories of the system. So I'm going to start with dir for directory scan, -u for the URL or the website I'm trying to scan, -w for a word list, scan the site with, and I'll probably use this one. And -w, I think that's all we need, and we'll just save this to a file. Let's just call it stale.gobuster. So this is going to go ahead and start scanning the system for different directories. Now we have our Nmap scan running. We got 2 scans running on this target. All right, we got our Nmap scan running, doing the port scan, trying to find open ports, open services. Then we have this Dirbuster scan that's running, that's looking for, see how it's scanning for directories /arcade/arc/architect. So that's going to keep scanning until it finds something. All right. Now, while that's scanning, let's take a look at the website. So if you notice, one of the first things to do here is to get the question, who is the employee of the month? So let's go here and go to the website, see if we can see anything. Whoops. So I honestly don't know if this server is up or functioning properly. Connected to the VPN. So right now we can't reach the server. And we were able to ping it a few minutes ago. Let's do this. Let's get a new server. So you're going to run into issues here. This should be spinning up right now. So let's go ahead. Let's terminate this guy. And let's start up a new one. Which means, any questions, y'all, so far? It's going to take a few seconds. Shane, you said you used TryHackMe before, right?
Sorry, I missed that. What was that?
You said you've used TryHackMe before, right?
Yes. Yep.
Have you ever gotten to the Still Hack Me lab yet?
No, I'm still messing around with Linux, and then I got to the module right after that. I'm still on the beginner phase. It says beginner, complete beginner, and that's the one that I'm working from. So I'm like 3 or 4 modules in.
That's a good one to use too. That's a good one. All right, let's go ahead and ping this guy again. See what's going on. I'm going to reconnect to the VPN just to make sure it's not me.
I have a question.
What's going on, bro?
How are you able to do 2 boxes in the command line?
2 boxes in the command line. Are you talking about how I split the?
Correct, yeah.
So that's a tool called Tmux. It's an application called Tmux. It's actually, Shane, they actually use it in that beginner's path on TryHackMe. It's weird. It's not pinging. I wonder if it's. Do I have internet access? I have to have internet access on Google. Yeah. Oh, this machine may not appear to reading this fundamental. So it says here, please note that this machine is not responding to ping. I'm over here trying to ping. All right, so let's go ahead. It said it may take a few minutes to boot up. Maybe that's what was going on, or maybe I wasn't being patient enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and run our scans over. I'll be light with it this time and just, I wanna save that to a file. Let's go ahead and run this guy again. So this is a tool called Tmux that I'm using right now to do this. Let's use a different one. Save that to a file. All right, so that's gonna go ahead and run. Let's see what's popping over here. Why is this guy taking forever to spin up? I have to connect to. All right, so it's working now, which is good. This is the website. Why aren't you able to connect to it? All right, so this is working now. So these servers, they're glitchy. That's why I said this is gonna be cool to do it in live, because this is not the first time this is gonna happen to me. It's not the first time it's happened to me. You're gonna have this happen to you a few times. So here's the website right here, okay? All right, I've scanned the running, Gobuster is running. It actually found a directory already called image. We'll take a look at that later. So one of the basic things you wanna do when you're trying to compromise a web server is look at the source page. Okay, so you can right click the screen, and then hit page source, or you could just hit Control U. It'll do the same thing. And then you get the page source of, right, this HTML. So behind here, do you see anything interesting here? Anybody?
Somebody's name.
You got a name right there, Bill Harper. You got a Bill Harper. It says who's the employee of the month. This guy's the employee of the month. All right, probably Bill Harper. Good job, Cedric. So this is still running. I feel like this Nmap scan is going to take a long time. Let's go and see what's behind these images right here. So let's do this /image. It says access denied, but if we do that, Bill Harper, that PNG, if we get his picture. Yeah, this server is glitching, but that's okay. Our Nmap scan is done. All right, so we got the guy's name. Nmap scan is done. Let's go ahead and look at let's go and look at this Nmap scan. So, all right, this is what a typical Nmap scan is going to look like. We're going to have some hopefully open ports. We can see port 80 is open. Obviously, that's open. That's what we use to get to this website. All right, port 80, default web service port. See 135, 139 is open. Some SMB stuff going on here. We could try to exploit the SMB services on here, but that's not what we're going to do today. 3389, what port is this, y'all? Anybody?
Remote desktop.
Remote desktop.
RDP.
RDP, good job. Then you got port 8080. It's another service running on 8080, which we will be looking at right now. This is actually the vulnerable service that we're going to use to exploit this machine. So let's go ahead and go to that port. All right, let's just cancel this out. Let's see what service is over here. 8080. See if we get anything. This guy's pretty glitchy today. Did I put in the right IP? 205. Let's get out of that. All right. So what comes up is, looks like a file server. It says HTTP file server 2.3. Our version scan on Nmap, remember that SV for version scan, it gave us the same version here. HTTP file server 2.3. All right, if we just do a quick Google search on this service, right? Port 8080 right now is hosting a file server. If you go to this server, 10.10.255.181, over port 8080, you're going to reach a file server. If you go to it over port 80, you're going to reach the web server, right? Or you're going to reach this website, boom. But if you use the port 8080, you're going to access a different service. This is the file service. This right here is the web service. You can have different services on different ports, right? For the same system. So if we want, right, a lot of exploitation, a lot of compromising is based off of research. So let's go ahead. If we want to exploit this service, which is the service we're supposed to be exploiting here, let's go ahead and do a quick Google search on this exploit and exploit.db -db. This is a very common database that stores exploits. All right, you can see for the Rejetto file server, there is an exploit for this. This is it written out here. Okay, we can read this later, but it's explaining how this exploit works. Here's the code, the Python code for it, right? And they usually, the exploits, they're gonna leave a comment for you on what to change or what to add. And for this, we have to change the IP and port. So all we did here to get to this step, y'all, after we did our Nmap scan and we found port 8080 open, we started fishing around a little bit more. Started fishing around, we actually went to the service from the front end. We found this and we want to see if we can exploit it further. Right? It was one of the open ports. Why not try to exploit it further? So to do that, we just researched what this service was, right? To see if there was any vulnerability. We did it through the web. I did a quick Google search for HTTP file server. We could have also done it through here, search exploit, Rejetto. Okay, search exploit is doing the same thing we just did here. It's just a tool and an application, a service, right, on our operating system. And we can see the same exploit, right? What is this Python file? We can see the same exploit over here. It is, all right, 2.3. We got to use the right version, y'all. If you try to use 2.2 or 1.5, the exploit won't work for that, for this service. Right, this is 2.3. So we want this one, which is pretty much this, right? I want this script. So instead of me copying and pasting it over here, I'm just gonna grab it from here. So search exploit M39161.py. I'm just taking the file. Now it's here, it's right here. So what I'm going to do is open it up with a tool editor, a notepad editor or a note editor, text editor. Sorry, I can't get the right words out of my mouth right now. And remember, we have to change the IP and the port number. So before we do that, what are we looking at right now? This is the exploit that we're going to use to exploit this file server. Okay, this is the exploit we're going to use to exploit this file server. We're going to see it happen in action. You can use Metasploit MSF console to do this, right? But I'm doing it the manual way. I'm actually doing it the challenging way, right? The path that's not taking the most, the path less taken. So this is the manual way. You can use Metasploit and it's going to do all this for you. You don't have to worry about this code. You don't have to worry about switching this in and out, and it'll do it for you. The reason I do it this way is because Metasploit is not always going to be available. All right, so here, I'll explain what this thing is doing. Let's just go ahead and switch, but we need to switch. I don't know my IP. I have to put my IP here, right? Because this script or this exploit is going to reach back to my IP. It's going to try and establish a session with my IP, right? Like a reverse door. So what was I doing? I need to get my IP. So I config. I want this IP. And I'm going to change this. And I think I will leave it. I'll just do 4443. So I just want to make a note of this, copy this, and I'm going to save that. And I'm also going to start taking some notes, right, which I should have been doing from the beginning. So I could just have this here. For 8080, it was HFS, Rejetto, 2.3. I think those are the most important things right now. Right, there are tools to help you with note taking when it comes to exploitation. I just need something quick and dirty right now. All right, so we edited the Python script. So for this thing to work, right, this script is going to reach back out to our web server, okay, to start a tool called Netcat. Does anybody remember what netcat is used for?
Multiple things. It's Swiss Army knife.
Say that again, you sound muffled.
Multiple things is a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, it can be used for multiple things. It can be used to send files. It can be used to do pings. It can be used for to establish a backdoor, to send encrypted files, create an encrypted session where you're sending files back and forth. You can do it for so many things, y'all. So what this Python script is going to do is try to start up a session using netcat from our web server. So what I have to do is start up a web server first. Okay, but I need to have so I'm going to start up a web server from this directory. All right, this script is going to come into this directory to grab netcat. So I have to put netcat here. So I need to find out where netcat lives on my system. I'm going to use the locate command. And let me know if you got any questions, okay? All right, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this here. So what the copy command is going to do is copy everything from here, from this netcat, and into this location I'm at right now. I mean, I could just go ahead and type out the entire location, right? But I don't want to do all that. So it just copies it right here. Oh, crap. All right, got to rename it. So we're going to use the net. It has to be netcat, because that's what the script is going to look for netcat. So now we have netcat right here. The script can come and grab it. But for it to grab it, we have to start up a web server. So I'm going to start up a web server. And you have to do it over port 80, right? And we can look at the script. I think they talk about it. This is the script right here. It says you need to be using a web server hosting netcat, right? And the web server has to be over port 80. You have to put your IP address over port 80, and it's going to be looking for this file. Okay, so that's why I put netcat.exe in this folder. That's why I renamed it to make sure it's the right name. And that's why I'm going to start the web service from this directory, so that when this is started, when we start this, it finds this where it's looking for it. All right, so the web service is starting. Now the script, remember we gave it a port, right? What port did we give it? This is when I take notes. I think it was 4443. So this guy is going to use netcat over here to try to connect back to us over this port. So we have to open this port up, port 443. And I'm going to use netcat to open up port 443. Quick check. So less doesn't open up the entire file, just shows me a little bit, right? Real quick. Shows me a little bit, and I can just hit enter to see more and more and more and more and more. Okay. And netcat, that's the command, netcat, to start it. I'm going to use the listen switch for L, the verbosity switch for V to give me more information. Listen means listen on this port. N is for, I can't remember right now, like numbers, translate domains. I can't remember right now. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. And then P is for the port that we want to listen on. So 4443. Now, all that's left, I believe, if we have everything set up right, is to just run the script. So we're going to run the script. And for the script, we have to target this guy. Okay, we have to target this guy. Got to point to the server, and you got to tell the script what port the service is running on, because this script is to exploit a vulnerability in this application service right here. So we are going to hit enter Let's see what we get. Feel like I might have butchered the syntax a little bit. Yeah, Python, target IP, over port 8080. Then we have our service running with Netcat. We are listening for this. So why aren't you running, buddy? Let's see. Let's give it a few seconds. Might need me to stop it. Don't forget to change the local IP port. Okay, we did something wrong. Server 80. That's running over port 80. Let's go to a bigger screen. No, 39. So something is not right here. Local IP 10.6.82.140. That's my IP, right? 10.6.82.140 over that port. Okay. So it's away. Save that. 4443. So how do we run this script? It's the server. It's acting glitchy. We literally didn't change anything, and now it wants to work. So now we just got backdoor access to the web server. This is why it's good to see this live, because you'll probably be stuck on this lab and you're thinking that it's something you did, but it's nothing you did. It's just the web server is acting glitchy. Maybe there are other people doing it. Maybe you all are running it at the same time we're running. I don't know. There's a DDoS coming on. But we just ran the script, and now we have access to that web server. All right, we are on the back end of this web server right now. This is the back end. This is the front end. Okay, so how can I prove that? Who am I? I'm Bill. I'm now Bill, the employee of the month. We can go ahead and answer some of these questions if you want to. Scan the machine with Nmap. What is the other port running a web server on? 8080. Okay. Take a look at the other web server. What file server is running? This guy. I think file server. Yeah. What is the CVE number for that exploit? Right here. Wait, is that the one we use? The same exact CVE. 2014-637. What is the CV numbers of the exploit to this file server? 2014-6287. Give me a hint. 2014-6287. All right, whatever. Now they want us to get the user flag. User flag is probably going to be on Bill's desktop, but we'll come back to that last. Let's try to escalate our privileges. All right, so we're on this system. A few things that I typically do on a host that I compromise, I have like a checklist. I'll run netstat to see the active connections. I'll run ARP to see the, right, let's just do it, run ARP to see some local IPs that this system may have been communicating with. I'll run right, the route command. I'll run the system info command. I'll just start doing my enumeration to get, I mean, this thing is really glitchy. So I'll do my enumeration to start getting more info. what services are running, right? Task list / SVC. What services are running? We can see our netcat services running. It's running 3 times. I did start it 3 times. You can see, well, 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can see what services are running. It's so many things, right? This is why a checklist is good. What we can also use is a script called Winpeas. Winpeas is for Windows and Linpeas is for Linux. We can use Winpeas that's going to do all this enumeration for us. It's going to automate it for us. I highly advise you to learn how to do it on your own without Winpeas, but we're going to use Winpeas for the sake of time here. All right. These are the services that are running right now on this computer. I just want to, okay, this is the guy that we're going to exploit right here. So let me make sure I got this in my notes. There are a few other services I believe you can exploit on this box, but this is the one that the lab is targeting. All right, so I'm going to download Linpeas onto this server. But before I do that, I'm going to use my web service that I started up here on the right side of the screen to host Winpeas. And then I'm going to download it down here from the web server. So first I have to copy, where is it? Winpeas. '64. I want to copy this over here. I'm going to call it trypeas.exe. All right, now you can see it in the same directory as the others with the Python script. It's all there. Okay. Now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to download it, but let me change directories to a location I should have access to. Because I don't think I'll be able to download it into this directory. I may not have access. So let's cd. Let's go to Bill's desktop. Sheesh, this is going slow. Anybody got any questions so far? Any questions for me, for me? Dang, let me check the YouTube, bro. The chat still not working over there. Wow. This is going super slow. Hey, Telvin, what you think about this so far? Is Telvin in here?
Yeah, I think it's dope, especially seeing how you accessed it and seeing the back end and the front end. Thought it was cool how you put the IP in and then you put the port number after and it shows the front end of the website. But now it's cool.
Okay. Yeah, and this is gonna hang up. Like that's the wrong directory. I'm just noticing that. It's supposed to be C users. Now I could probably wait for this to hang, but I'm going to cancel the shell because this might take too long. And I'm gonna have to rerun the script. Hopefully that doesn't take too long. Rerun the script to get back in there. For this script, for some reason I have to run it twice. And I think they do mention that in that text file that you may have to run it twice. Come on, guy. Should not take this long. So CD, C drive, users, Bill. Then let's go to his desktop. Now we're on Bill's desktop. And here's the user flag. Let's just go ahead and since we're here, type on Windows is going to read out the file to the screen. This is the flag. Here. Wait, no, that's not. Wait, yeah. Let's get the initial step. Now we're going to escalate our privileges. Okay, I'm on the desktop. I'm going to download Winpeas or TryPeas. I renamed it TryPeas. I'm going to download it using PowerShell. My 82.140, I believe is my IP. Let me double check. 82.140. Yeah, my web server is on port 80, and I want to download trypeas.exe. I want to output the file as trypeas.exe. Now, I hope that I didn't have any typos in here. HTTP 10.6.82.140 trypeas.exe. All right, so that should download. Here we should see the GET request over here. Remember, GET, that's an HTTP request. Yeah, it's right there. I'm blind right now. So we can see it, trypeas.exe. Now I'm actually going to open this up to a bigger screen because Winpeas, or as I renamed to TryPeas, is about to go off and just start spitting a bunch of information to the screen if it works. And we'll give it a few. But it just should start running. Right, once we launch the executable, it should start going. But for some reason, she's just going pretty slow today. I guess this is why people they don't do live recordings. Stuff like this. Come on, guy. While that's running, see, if we were using Metasploit, you could do this a lot quicker. But I like to not get in the habit of using and relying on Metasploit all the time. It's not always accessible. It's not always going to work. Can't always get an interpreter shell. God, leave. Let's see something. I just refuse to. I don't want too many shells over there. All right, I'm going to stop this Gobuster scan. It's still running. Move this. Okay, I'm gonna. Let's see. I'm gonna open up another one. We're using again, it was 443. I'm gonna try to open up another one. See if I can speed it up. You know what? We might not have permissions to run it there. So let's go. HTTP 2.140. I don't think that's the right IP. I just want to make sure it's the right IP. 10.6.82.140. That's what it's supposed to do. So we probably don't have permission here. So it's just going to do, so I mentioned earlier that Winpeas, we renamed it to TryPeas. Winpeas is just going to do a big bunch of different enumerations. It's going to be scanning your computer for, it's going to look at the ARP table, it's going to look the netstat, it's going to look for vulnerable locations, vulnerable files, maybe open passwords, clear text passwords, credentials. And it does a pretty good job at highlighting these things for you or letting you know what's important. And so what it tries to do, if you go all the way to the top, which we won't, it shows you the legend. So red is usually like the most critical things that you can use to exploit. You'll see some things in red. right? It found some stuff. And we'll probably spend a Cyber Thursday just looking at this information because it's a lot of good things in here, honestly, right? We found Bill's actual password. Let's save this. Let's save this. Okay. But what we want to do, we're trying to escalate our privileges, and there are a number of ways to escalate your privileges. One way is to try to find a service that's running as system, a vulnerable service that's running as the system with system privileges. And there is one that's running. There's actually a few here. The one that I've tested out is the one we're going to use is this guy. Oh, let's see a question. Was that his actual password or his hash? Let's look at it again after. That's a good question. We'll take a look at it. I can't remember. It might have been the hash though. What were we doing? Okay, so like I mentioned, it's going to highlight like the critical vulnerabilities in red. And right now you're looking at a vulnerability that says no quotes and space detected. This is also known as a unquoted path vulnerability. In other words, this executable right here, right? We can make our own, or we can make some type of application, malware. We can make some type of application, name it this executable, right? And place it somewhere in this file structure and it will run it, right? Because it's, and we'll talk more about it later, unquoted and spaces detected. You want to have quotes around, you see the space in here, the space, yeah, that's the only space, but you want to have quotes around this entire thing, because if you don't, we can access this ASCS here. Let me just draw it out. I'm trying to, let me draw it out real quick for understanding, y'all. So, where's the whiteboard? Okay, I'm just going to draw it out on the screen. All right, so if we have a, let's say C program, C programs, and then C programs that is not going to draw out too good. I want to use the whiteboard. Okay, here we go. All right, so if this is our service right here, eservice.exe, and this is where it's supposed to run from. Program files, x86, I think it was IOBIT, and then advanced something. I'll just leave it like that. That's where it's supposed to run from. But because this app, it doesn't have any quotes like this, we could potentially run that from here, right? We can put the ADEXC right here because there are no quotes around it. So it's just looking for the wherever this executable is. As long as it's somewhere in this file structure, in this directory path, it's going to execute it potentially because of the unquoted service vulnerability, right? So that's kind of what we're going to exploit, right? But what we're really going to do is just create an application that looks just like that. We're going to name it the same thing and swap it out with the one that's in there. All right, so I'm going to copy this already. I really want to copy this file path because I don't want to have to type it out. So what we have to do is first, this shell is going to fail out. So first we have to create a reverse shell. We have to create some type of shell that's going to connect back to us, right? And we're going to get that system to start the shell as with system privileges. So in order for it to start what we want, we have to name it that, but let's create the shell first. I'm going to use MSF Venom to create the shell. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Windows, x64, reverse. No. Shell, reverse, TCP. L host is going to be our IP. I keep forgetting this thing. I hope that's the right one. L port will do 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll explain this in a second. Output ASC service.exe. So what we're doing is using a tool called MSF Venom to create a payload, right? It's actually reverse shell. Okay, the -P is to select the payload. And the payload is Windows x64 shell reverse TCP. This payload is going to establish a connection back to us, right? Obviously, we have to open up a port here because we're telling it to connect back to us, this IP, over this port. And this is wrong. And the format of the file, which is what the F stands for, is an executable. We want this file to be an executable because Windows operating systems, they use executables. All right, and the name of the file is going to be ASC service.exe. Does anybody remember why we're going to name it this? So we're going to name it this here because remember this file or this service right here. This was the vulnerability that we found. This was the vulnerable service that we found that was inside of an unquoted service path, right? Inside of this path, C program files, IO bit, advanced system care. So that service is a vulnerability. Yeah, that we're going to have to break that shell soon. This is the vulnerability we're going to exploit. This unquoted service path right here, the program files x86 IO bit advanced system care. So by us creating our payload as this name, what we're going to do, right? We're going to use the same web shell, the same web server to host this payload. Then we're going to grab it over here, and then we're going to switch it with the one that's already there and get ours to start. So I'm going to have to break this. Okay, so I had to reconnect because it hung up on us. So what we're going to do, I accidentally did it again. I want what I want to do is go to this location. So I'm going to copy this. I can type the rest. Did we get redirected? Acting wonky again. How y'all feeling? What's going on, Shane? How you liking this so far?
I really enjoyed it. This is really informative.
Good. I'm gonna end it soon once we can get back onto the box. Oh, still online. Yeah, it is. Let's make sure. It's still online. But for some reason, that cat is still there. Let's restart this. Let's try to refresh that. The pains. Anybody got any questions while we're standing by? Dami, how are you liking this so far with what you do? You're the cyber analyst. Okay, thank you. CD, C, program files, X, 6. Oh, no. First, IOBIT, advanced system here. Okay, so now if I list out the directory, the dir command on Windows, list out the directory for Windows. On Linux, it's ls. So if I list out the directory and scroll up, you will see the services here, right here. All right. So what we need to do is switch this out with hours. So before we do that, I'm gonna have to stop the service. Service name. This is the service name. This is the executable that runs the service. So I'm gonna stop the service. All right, it has stopped successfully. Now I'm going to get my SC service. We're going to get our payload now. ASC service.exe. PowerShell. CWGet 10.6.82.140 over port 80. Let's get it. Let's make sure. It's crazy though, it didn't tell us that it even served it. 10.6.82.40. Give that a second. 40 ASC service.exe file. Exe. This shouldn't take this long. $40. $6.82.40. These are the pains and gains, but this should not take this long to run. We have our service here, ASC service.exe, which is correct. This is ASC service.exe. I guarantee you it's just the server acting wonky. It's not even showing me. program files x86. That should already stop. ASC service.exe. ASC service.exe. Oh, it just took that long to run. I just wasn't being patient. So it ran. We can see that it grabbed it from our logs here. Dang, that took a very long time, man. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get out of this. We're going to, remember we had set a port for this, for our payload to run on. We set it to run on port 1234. So I'm going to start up a netcat listener on port 1234. And over here on the compromised host, we're going to try to start that system. That service. Let's see what happens. Hopefully this one doesn't take a whole winter to run even. Wait, M7, L host, L port. Yeah, that should work. So this, what it's supposed to do is start this service up, right? It's supposed to start it up as system, right? We'll look at the service configuration too, so you can see why it's starting it up as system. Let's skip that part. Okay, let's see if we can answer some of these. This doesn't need an answer. What is the name of the service that shows up as an uncoded path? This is the name of it here. Okay, no answer needed here. Now we're just going to give it the root flag, and we'll be able to get the root flag once we get into this system. While then we're waiting for that, I can just show you. If this moves quicker than that, I'll be surprised. I just want to show you why it's going to run in that system, show you those permissions on it. We just have to look at the configurations of this service. You see, there's a lot that goes into this, right? A lot of different skill sets, a lot of different tools and commands. It really takes a lot of practice. This is ridiculous. I mean, I think it's working, because if it wasn't working, it would have failed saying that we can't start the service. So I said I was going to show you the configurations for that service. So this is the configurations right here. All right, this is the name of the service. What I did to pull up the configuration was SCQC. We are querying the service configs, what this service uses to start up. And okay, so it's using this account or these permissions to start up with. So it's starting up as local system, and it's starting up from this path, right? We just put our executable there. Okay, and usually it auto starts. So it starts as soon as you boot up the system. Okay, but in this case, we have manually started it, and it still hasn't started. Lord have mercy. Godly. You need like superpowers to get this thing moving. Oh, voila. So now we have compromised the system. We can prove it. Remember when we did who am I up here, which is probably going to error out now, but we can do it right here. Who am I? We're Bill on this system, right? But if we do who am I down here, we are the system user. So before it goes any slow, let's go ahead and go to what's his name? Administrator? Yeah. CD administrator. Golly, I'm trying to beat it before it goes any slower, but okay. What did I type in the wrong name? I should just type that out. Lord have mercy. So we have to wait for this. Here, let me see if I can see if I can try it. Try to think faster. What if I just open up? I'm already on one. So if I use this to start up another one, I could, okay. Let's do this. Let's see if we're up. No, we're still not up. Gosh, you hate me. I swear you hate me. This thing just hates me right now. So we're on the last stretch. We are administrator. I just want to show you the root flag so we can go ahead and close this out for people who are waiting for that flag. All right, people are waiting to see it. I should have just typed it out from where I was, knowing the speed we were dealing with. Yeah, this thing hates me. So let's see, we're good over here. We don't need anything over here. Golly, bro. You don't have to be like this. Like, it didn't have to get to this point, but we're here. Okay, okay. All right, we compromise it. Who am I? Real quick, make sure we're system. So look, just show me. Type administrator. Did I spell that right? I thought I did. Yeah. So administrator. Wait, no, we're gonna error out on that. It's users. Administrator. Administrator. And let's go to their desktop. And I think it's root.txt. No, okay, we're gonna try to do this. Please do not log us out. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Oh, I spelled desktop wrong. Okay, here's the root flag. Oh Lord, let's see what's that other shell doing. Oh, she came back, right? See how long it took her to error out. All right, so we have compromised this box. We were able to get system level privileges. And the way we did it was by exploiting a vulnerable service that, one, we had permissions to write to this service or to that folder, that location. We had permissions to write. I don't know if I showed you that, but we could have easily checked the permissions with the CLS command and the location of where that file is, like where this guy is, and it would have shown us that we have permissions to read and write. Any questions on this, y'all? She's gonna freak out. All right. Any questions? But we could have seen that we had permissions to read and write to this location. Obviously we do, we just wrote to it. But the CACLS command or the ICACLS command could have, if I spelled that one the right way, would have given you that information. Any questions, y'all? Dola, Collins, Dami, Pete, Shane, Telvin. I'm feeling like
I'm gonna have to run through that one myself to fully grasp this. A lot of good information, a lot of stuff I didn't know before that I'm definitely gonna have to play with to fully get a good understanding of it. But that was a really good run through, especially with all the issues, because as everyone knows, you always run into issues, always, or at least I always do. And this was a really great example.
yeah, and I'm not gonna edit this. I'm gonna leave it as it is. I think it'd be a good learning opportunity for some. Some of these issues that I made were typos, right? I could have, done the right case sensitivity and all that good stuff with quotations to make things smoother. But good learning experience for others to see how we got through some of these issues, see how you can open up another shell to try and bypass or stall with one to keep doing what you got to do. So if anybody has any questions, hit me up on Discord. We're there. Everybody who's tuned into us for the first time, this is something we're going to be doing every Thursday night. Cyber Thursday is something we do every Thursday at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're trying to get into one of our courses to understand the fundamentals of what's going on, or to try to get into cybersecurity like these students have, definitely check out our website at olinesecurity.com. Our next course is starting June 28th. All right, it's a 10-week course helping people get Security Plus certified and getting them into the field. All right, other than that, y'all, thank you for showing up. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so we know that you liked it. If you want to see a different lab, a different virtual, a different server, you have one in mind, right? There are a bunch of TryHackMe servers out there. Drop a comment, let us know which one you want us to do, and we will go through it. All right, you all have a good night. Stay safe. Hold on to your loved ones. Give them a kiss. Let them know you love them. And I will see you all next Thursday. Class, I will see you on Monday. Please study. Good night, everybody.
All right, Toby. Good
All
night.
right, good night.
Thank you, Toby.
No problem, man.